Right then, this is a quick walk around video and for quite a special car in its own way. This is a Civic 1.8 SI, 59 plate, so it's first of the facelift models, finished in red as you can see. Car's covered 84,000 miles, but where it differs from most probably is the fact that it's just one owner from new and with a full Honda service history attached. He had it serviced 12 times by the same Honda dealership, which is quite remarkable really. And we've just serviced it. It'll be just going off for an MOT. Car, I mean, obviously it is, we're looking at a car that's now 13 years old. It's in lovely condition. There's odd bits of wear on the car, but minor compared to most. Bonnet, obviously you get the really light stone chipping on this age, but it is light, no sort of major ones. Near side of the car, really good. Did see one small indentation which I'll show you. It's the whole point of doing these videos. Near side front alloy, completely unmarked. Panel works really, really nice. But there was a small soft dent just there, but so realistically, you're going to get something on this age. And on the back, very nice indeed. With the offside, driver's side of the car, lovely and smooth in the panel work on the offside. Alloys are really good all round on the car, in all honesty. Sorry, it's a little bit quicker than normal because it's just starting to spit with rain, so I do apologise. But externally, apart from the odd minor blemish, it's in lovely condition. Let's come into the back now. Enormous boot on the car, and in all honesty, the video doesn't do it justice. The fabrics look almost like new back here. And what's lovely to see is, you normally get a tyre inflation kit, but he's paid the extra to have the spare wheel and cargo net fitted as well. It's a lovely sign of ownership. Coming to the back of the car now, it's half leather interior. It's in absolutely beautiful condition. Doesn't look so it's been used very much in the back at all. Coming to the front now on the passenger side, and all very, very clean and tidy. Passenger seat again in super condition. Finally coming on the driver's side, and all very, very clean. The air is really nice. The only way you get a tiny bit on the bolster just rubs the outside beading there, but in all honesty, for 13 years old, that's very clean. Inside the car now, engine's running as I always tend to do, so the dash can be soon illuminated. Dashboard just looks pretty much as new. It's absolutely stunning in here. And come back here, you get that view of what I think is the best dashboard by a country mile. It's absolutely stunning. No warning lights on, engine running, 84,709 miles. Just to show you, owner's manual pack and lock and wheel nut key all here and present with the car. And then this is a quick road test video, and this is for a Honda Civic 1.8 SI. The car's registered VE59HXK, and the mileage is 84,702 miles. The reason for doing all of our videos, very simply, is to ensure that if anyone's online looking at any of our cars, they actually get to see the very car in the advert in operation. Like far too many people, we've been to see cars which have looked absolutely fine in photographs and description, only to get them find out it's got a fundamental issue which we'd much rather known about before setting off. So that's the reason for it. Also done on these very quiet country roads, very close to our premises. This actually forms part of the road test route we take our customers on, so the hope is it'll be representative of what you'd feel yourself should you be offered a test drive in the car. As you'll know from the walk around video, I mean, this is quite unique for this kind of age car in terms of the ownership and history, and as soon as you drive it you can see where the investment in its history has gone, because it's such an awful cliche in the used car trade, but it literally drives like new. It just feels so tight on the road. Engine starts instantly, settles to a smooth, even idle. No warning lights on the dashboard at all relating to the engine or any other part of the car. And temperature gauge is running as third, which is exactly where it's meant to be on a Honda vehicle. The engines are just a gem. I always say it, but it's true. Honda make the best 4-cylinder engines in the world, and this is a classic example of why It's smooth, quiet, tractable, keen to rev, sweet edged in terms of the engine note, so it makes the engine very accessible at all revs, but also has, you know, Honda reliability just built into it. They are incredibly tough and robust cars, but also it performs well, it's keen to pick up, and the economy is amazing on them. To give you some idea, the chap who's just part exchanged it, or not part exchanged, just sold it to us, he's been averaging 44.6 miles per gallon. So that tells you what they're eminently capable of. I know on longer trips I can get over 50 very easily, but it's still an astonishing figure. It's virtually diesel economy for this age of car. But a lovely unit, really is. Engine then feeds through into the clutch and gearbox of the car. Clutch on the car, absolutely perfect. Bike point exactly where it's meant to be. It's lovely and smooth in operation. And then you place your hands on one of the best gearboxes you're ever going to use. It is a fantastic gear change in the car. It's slick, it's smooth, short in throw. It's a gearbox you really enjoy using rather than feeling as though you actually have to use it. And that feels absolutely as it would have done when it was new. There's just no slack in it at all, which is common for these. They are very robust in terms of the mechanical stuff. But a lovely gear change, I have to say. All the more remarkable because, like most gear changes, it's, you know, the gear lever here is connected to the gearbox by cables. And unfortunately, on some cars, that can lead you to have some sort of lifeless, vague, notchy gear changes, which I despise. Let's pull out a second. And then you come to, you know, one of the best chassis you're going to drive, I have to say. I mean, it starts with the steering, which is incredibly quick and sharp, but controlled. It's got beautiful weighting to it. You hardly have to turn the wheel, but it's like you just point to where you want to go and the car goes. It's just, there's no kind of slack in it or vagueness. It's so direct, and the chassis works brilliantly with it, by the way. As I said before, at the start of the video, that it feels just so tight on the road, no sort of slack at all for the miles. Track's absolutely dead straight with no vibrations at this speed or any speed up to the legal limit, actually. And the chassis itself, you know, it's so keen to change direction. It corners very flat, but you show it, you know, a series of corners if you're an enthusiastic driver, and it just eats them up. It, you know, it loves, you know, it's got a really sort of good attitude for the car when it goes into the corners, and the front end of the car really sort of bites in really nicely. It's got a lovely balance to it, and yet still manages to give you a very comfortable and compliant ride over most surfaces. Only the, you know, really pitted roads will catch it out, as they do pretty much any car. But there's no noises coming from underneath the vehicle. There's no clattering, knocking noises, nothing like that. All absolutely spot on. The brakes in the car, I'm not going to give it too hard a show. I've done it earlier. They're absolutely perfect. They bite brilliantly. There's no pulsing. There's no vibrations coming back through the pedal at all. So all in fine order. Then to come inside the car, it's literally just arrived. It's not been cleaned. Hardly needs it. It's in lovely condition in here, and you know, I adore this interior, and I openly admit that, you know, it is, you know, one of those classic Marmite designs where you either like it or you don't. Fortunately for me, I love it, but I also think that's a really good sign of interesting design, that it polarizes opinion. You don't tend to sit on the fence with these. You either like them or you don't. But I think that, personally, I think that's brilliant. What I like about it, though, more than anything else, although it looks fantastic in my eyes, is it's designed to work. It's ergonomically very, very clever. Most conventional part is here. Nice, simple, easy to use radio. Air conditioning, by the way, which pumps out absolutely ice cold air. But then you've got this two-tier design. So the upper section is the stuff like, you know, fan speed, radio information on a little pod up there. But you've got this digital speedo, nice, big, bold, by itself, no other information to sort of confuse you as it's going along, apart from some minor stuff. But it basically means you can drive along, look at the road, keep your eyes on the road at all times, but you can see your speed at the same time at the corner of your eye. It is genius in the way it works and how it works. Then down below that we've got this, it's gorgeous, this almost kind of like a hologram effect of sort of floating information pod surrounded by the rev counter. It just is stunning, absolutely stunning, and that is straight out of those that know the Hondas, and I had one, the Mark 1 Honda Prelude had a similar but very much an analog, old-fashioned dials, but with the cluster in the middle of it, the big rev counter, looked not dissimilar to that. And the whole point of the Honda Prelude was, by definition, it was a prelude to what would or could come later, and that was one of the designs they wanted to incorporate in one of their cars, and it looks sensational. It also, rather nerdily, and I hate to say this, at night when it's all illuminated, it looks stunning in here when it's all, I mean, it's one of those few cars you get into and it's actually really rather interesting, but fundamentally incredibly easy to use and operate, which is the whole point of it. And everything's working exactly as it should. You know, I can't find any issue with anything at all. This is going to be one heck of a car for someone. It is faultless in the way it drives.